guys, Mr. James here from the Kenai Community Library with another Let's Draw. Now for today's subject, we are going to be drawing a very simple subject, the garden gnome. It's going to be a very cartoony image of those very pleasant characters with the pointy hats and long flowing beards, but we're going to draw several of these gnomes, which means we're going to learn how to add multiple figures in one composition or one sheet of paper. So grab your pencils, your papers, your erasers, and your markers, and let's get ready to draw. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with our garden gnome. So remember, we're going to be drawing multiple gnomes on one page. So what I'd like you guys to do is let's go ahead and turn our papers in a horizontal orientation, side to side. And I want you to envision, just envision a line kind of going right down the middle. And I think since we want to start, if you are right-handed, it might be beneficial to start your figures on the left side. If you're left-handed, start your figures on the right side. That way you can see your figures as you draw them, just like writing. So we're going to go ahead and start on the left side since I am right-handed. For all you lefties at home, do the opposite. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this divided halfway, and I'm going to start right. If I'm pretending that this is the middle, I'm going to start maybe right 1/3 of the way over, and I'm going to put right in the middle of this page a nice little oval. And my oval is going to go kind of horizontal also. So I'm going to draw an oval right here. Just like that. There's my oval. Now, I think every gnome that we draw today is going to start with just this oval shape. So once you get the first one down, you should be able to get the others down pretty easily. Next step is let's try and make our lines dynamic and beautiful. So I'm going to make the bottom of my oval a little bit darker than the top. And by the way, this oval represents our gnome's nose. So see how I added a little weight to the bottom. I just made it a little bit darker, and I think that helps. Just like that. Now what I want to do is draw some lines that come off, but I'm going to pretend as if they're sliding off this nose, and it's going to kind of come down like this. It's going to come down and stop right about here, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. It's going to slide down and come to about right here. Now this is actually the hat of the gnome resting on the nose. So what I want to do right here is add a little bit of dark right in this corner. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, a little bit of dark right here. Remember, our goal is kind of trying to make our lines kind of dynamic, and I think adding these little variations in dark and or thin and thick help. Okay, so the next step is the beard. I told you these are going to be simple, you guys. So all we want to do is just do a nice curve. Now, I'm going to use my wrist to help me pivot. My drawing's pretty big. So I'm just going to go like this and pivot this down, and I'm going to stop it right there. So you can see how large I did that. Now I'm going to try and eyeball this, and if this goes down right here, I'm going to go right about here. Starting point, stopping point, and it kind of curves out. So I'm going to kind of try and eyeball this. A little bit tricky, but I think that worked. So I have this kind of curve, and I have this kind of curve, and all I want to do on the bottom of these little curves is just add a little zigzag here, 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 here. A little zigzag to imply that, guess what? That's hair. Now what I want to do is just imagining a line going right down the middle of my gnome. I want to figure, okay, I want my gnome to stand about right here. So this is going to be his feet, and I'm going to put a line. If I go straight up from this, it's maybe not quite as wide as his beard, but pretty close. And this is going to be kind of flat right here, and then a kind of a curve on top. Kind of football-ish, but more flat on the bottom. This will represent his foot. You can see that it's almost the same size as the nose. Now remember, here's my invisible line. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, just about where the beard ends. Here I'm going to do the same thing, a mark.
And kind of that football shape like this. So if these are his feet, his little bitty feet, all I want to do is kind of just like I slid this off the nose, I'm going to slide this off the foot and slide it on the foot, kind of like this. That's what I did there. Now we can connect the body, which again, pretty simple. And all I want to do for the body is just bring it down like this in kind of a nice curve. I'm not going to go all the way out to the edge of the beard, just down a little ways, and then bring it down. And I'll connect it right about here. I'll do the same thing on this side. Probably right about here and bring it down to connect. Right about there. Okay, so this, as funny as it seems, is the gnome's body. Now the arms are going to stick out. I'm going to come right about, I'm going to go, this would be about halfway. I want to go a little above halfway and then have my arms come out. So I'm going to say right about here. I'm going to have my arms come out pretty long, and I'm going to imply a mitten and come in. I'm going to do the same thing on this side about where that one is. I'm going to come down on this side, same length, and I'm going to imply a mitten here and bring that in. I made that one a little bit thicker, but that's okay. Okay, so believe it or not, we're actually almost done with our gnome, but we're going to draw several, and we want to have fun with this. So what we want to do is, let's add the detail of the mitten edge. I'm going to add the detail of this mitten edge right here. And now I want to add this hat. Now, I'm going to take this edge. I don't want to start the hat right here where the hat comes over the nose to the beard. I want to pretend as if the hat has fallen behind the figure. So it's going to start a little further down, and I'm going to bring a curve mark up and over, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Curve mark over this way, and then over. Now this is just the top of the hat kind of resting, and now I can make that hat do all kinds of craziness. Now the big goal here and the big strong characteristic of a garden gnome is that they have pointy hats, but they can be bent and crooked and all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to have mine go, it's going to come up and then maybe over a little line right there, and maybe right here it's going to come over and up. And then I want that to come down, over, maybe right here maybe I'll have a little line like this, and then come down right on the other side of that line. Just like that for my hat. So you can see, now you can see how the gnome has already kind of taken shape. Now there's some details we can add real quick, and one real simple detail is just to add lines in the beard. So for this one, I think my lines are just going to be little thin marks. So I'm going to take thin marks, and I'm going to go here, 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 and just add these little thin marks. And I'm just going fast, just to imply that there's hair. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Here. Trying to follow the marks I left here. Just like that. So that implies hair. And now I want to go ahead and fill in my body. And you can do this with pencil or marker. I'm going to use a little bit of a fatter marker here. Having a nice amount of contrast always helps your drawings. And contrast is a balance of lights and darks. Well, we need some more darks in here, so we're going to do that. Contrast is particularly important if you're drawing something like comics or inking something with pen and ink. You want to be able to have some nice contrast in there. It just offers a little bit more of a dynamic look. almost done with this gnome. The last step of this gnome here is just to add a nice, fun little design to his hat. Oops, I put a little mark here, so I'm going to put that over. This gnome was pretty simple, but you can see how simple he was to draw. Means that you have latitude to do whatever you want with your next one. Now, this one, I'm going to go ahead and just add a couple of stitches on his hat. I'm going to put maybe a patch right here, like this, and I'm just going to add just a couple little stitch marks. Maybe I'll do another patch up here. That, just a couple of stitch marks like that. So there is one gnome. Now, if you want to make it more dramatic, you can by just making certain edges thicker and certain edges thinner. So I'm going to just thicken up the bottom of these gloves. I can thicken up down here, maybe even a little line down here, make his feet look like they have a little bit of weight to the bottom. You can even thicken up down here. And that is called making your lines more beautiful. So that's what I'm trying to do right here. And you can even see how this line went from thick and then really went to thin out here. And that makes for a fun look. So try and practice that at home. Sometimes you have to be kind of quick to get that thin look. Okay, so there's one gnome. Now the next one is going to be maybe a different height. So I'm going to slide over in my chair. And I want my next gnome to be a different height, but the feet will be the same. So I'm going to make my nose, we're going to make him shorter. I'm going to make my nose about right here. And I'm going to make it a little shorter than that. So I'm going to make my nose about right here. Again, kind of a horizontal nose, horizontal oval. Now remember, this nose is a little bit smaller than this one because this guy's going to be a little bit smaller. And I'm going to bring this down just like we practiced last time. It's just going to slope down like this. I'm going to add a little darks here like we did last time. You guys now know how to draw this image so you guys can get turned loose and do what you like here. But now I'm going to make this beard a little bit different. I'm going to put this beard, I am going to do the curve. Do a curve on this side. Couple little marks here like this. I'm going to go ahead and do my feet, but I want them to be even with these feet because we're drawing multiple figures. So I'm going to put a line right about here. Looks about even. Same on this side since it's multiple figures in one page. Sometimes that's tricky to do. If I had drawn him higher up on the page, it would have looked like he's further back. So I'm going to do my little curve down here. And you can make the bodies kind of different looks too. So I'm going to make this in a little bit more straight. I'm just going to have this guy come like this. I'm going to make this curve out like that. So a little bit different body type. And then his little hands, I'll just have this one come down here. Nice little mitten. We're just keeping it nice and simple today. We're going to do the same thing on this side. Kind of try and line that up. That looks pretty good. This time I'm going to give him some little cuffs here. Give him some cuffs. Maybe I can give him a belt if I want, so I'll just give it a little details here. I'm going to pretend that goes all the way under his beard. Pops up. So remember, we go way out here and come up. Come way out here and come up. Now with this guy, I'm going to give him a much bigger hat, and we're going to make it real kind of silly. We're going to come, it's going to curve this way. You know what? Maybe I'll make it a little shorter and just kind of have it go. It could have been taller if it didn't kind of flop over there. A little bit of wiggle to it. And there's his hat. Oh, I kind of like that one. Now, what I want to do is maybe something a little different on the beard. I could do the beard similar, but I want to try different techniques to the beard. So I'm just going to take and draw lines right here. And I'm going to bring those down here, starting at the nose, a little curve. I'm kind of making them start close together and end close together, but they get a little bit. And I think this makes for a nice, fun, different look. And you can practice all kinds of different techniques. Go just like that. Ooh, I kind of like that beard too. Now, before I fill in these darks, I'm just going to make this guy have maybe some little circles all over his hat. Kind of like how the circles don't necessarily connect. Like that. I like the look of that. Now I can go ahead and fill this in, because again, we kind of want that contrast. You guys will remember that word. I kind of like how small he is. And then the next one we'll make real tall and skinny and make him real different. I saw a lot of designs online of how people draw gnomes, and I thought this kind of technique of not really showing the eyes was a pretty fun one and real simple. That gave us an opportunity to spend a little bit more time drawing multiple gnomes. I'm just going to fill this in. So a couple of things that were different on this one. I did the beard different. I did his body type different. Gave him some details like cuffs and belt. But the one thing to remember is that I kept his feet about the same latitude here, and then I made his hat pointy and still had the strong characteristics. Now, okay, the final one I'm going to slide over again. Bring this over. And let's go ahead and start. Now this time I want his nose maybe to be all the way up here. We'll make it right about here. And I want to kind of put that weighted look to the bottom. I'm going to drop this down. This time I'm going to drop it down pretty far. And I'm going to drop this one down pretty far. This guy's going to be pretty droopy looking. And I'm going to give a little darkness here, a little darkness here. I think that helps add a little shadow to him. And now I want to do that beard. But this time I'm going to do the beard a little bit different. I'm going to just take and make it go out like this. And make it go out. This beard is going to be a little bit more stringy than the other beards. And I'm going to bring it all the way down. And it's kind of fun, something different. Do the same thing on this side. Doesn't have to be the exact same kind of look, but at least similar. Like that. So he's got this kind of wild, more scruffy looking beard. Now when I draw the feet, I need them to be the same. So I'm going to put my line, kind of imaginary line right about here. And I'm going to put a foot right here. And I think another one right here. It is a lot of fun just tackling simple images like this, because we can really have fun with it and make it our own, and then design it a little bit different the next time we do it. So I'm going to bring this over, and for body type, we're going to make this guy pretty skinny. So we're going to go maybe right here, like this, like that. And then let's give him his hands. I'm going to start a little bit further up right here. mitten. Do the same thing on this other side. Looks pretty good, right about there. Could have always done the left side first to help me see where that needs to go. But I think that works. And I'm going to go ahead and give him some lines right there. Okay, have that in place. Now the hat. Now I'm going to start the hat way down here. Way down here. Like this. And then I can draw the pointy hat. And let's see which way we want this. I'm thinking I'm going to have this one curve in maybe that way. So I'm going to take it up. Maybe a little bit of wobble to it. Over. Maybe just like this. Kind of like the little wobbly look. It's kind of fun. Like that. So there is a much taller hat. I kind of like that look. Now on this beard, I could add some lines that just kind of lightly connect it, or just bring it up a little. I think maybe I'll connect them. I think that looks okay. It's okay to put a little wobble to it. Something different, which makes it fun. Kind of just experimenting here. And I like it. I like the look of that beard. Almost looks very wizard-like kind of thing. Now for the hair, or for the hat, let's see, what designs can we put in that hat? Now, you could do stripes, you could do big circles. I'm a little nervous that the stripes might be a bit much, so I'm just going to make it not too much stripes, but just maybe a couple of stripes here and there. Maybe something like that, I think looks pretty good. And then I want to go ahead and darken this, because I do like that contrast. Hard to believe it didn't take that long to draw 3 standing figures. But we really had to work on getting them in our right composition, so we had to know where to start. Of course, if you're using pencil, you can always erase if you don't like where it was, or where the feet were, or if they didn't land maybe on the same kind of latitudinal line. I'm just going to fill this in here like this. And maybe my last step will be add a little bit of shadow to their feet here. Kind of fun to add some darks. Okay, there they are. So now let's add a little bit of shadow here, and I'm thinking I'm just going to maybe make it a little bit dark right here, and just add a little bit coming off, just a little bit of line coming off like that, just to make it look like they're standing. Maybe a little underneath. You guys know that I tend to add shadows at the end of my drawings when they're standing. I think it helps just to ground the image a little bit there, just like that. So final step is we always sign our images, but we want to kind of be discreet on this. I might put it down here in this corner. And there we go. We have our 3 gnomes standing here. and with a nice variety of hats and beards and all kinds of things. So have fun and make it your own. Challenge yourself to do different beards, different hats, maybe different attire and body shapes. You guys have fun with this, and I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. Take care. Have a wonderful week. Bye.